Hey YouTube community and friends, this is a reposting of my very first video on this channel. The original one I made on extranormal.com. That's because I was a techie newbie, didn't have a camera and all that. I'm still pretty much a techie newbie, but I was really moved by people's personal deconversion stories, and so I wanted to put my own on YouTube. I wanted to express myself, and I'm really grateful for that website because it was so freeing to finally have a public voice about what I had been going through. But I thought remaking it with literally my voice would probably be a good idea. So that's what I'm doing, remaking it. First, the word atheist will probably get me some hits on this video, but it has very negative connotations. Connotations aside, atheist is no more descriptive than any other word. It doesn't automatically imply immorality, anger, arrogance, what are the other things? You know, anything else that people think of when they think of the word atheist. It's just one no answer to one question. Do you believe in a theistic God? If the answer is no, or even if it's no about any particular theistic God, then the term applies. I hear how the word atheist is bandied about like it's a curse word, like it's an epithet, but it shouldn't be. I want believers to understand where atheists like myself are coming from, and I want people who are on the fences about belief to know that there is a community awaiting them if they honestly can't subscribe to certain beliefs anymore. So if you question your religion, you're not alone. So, my story begins. I grew up moderately Christian in a primarily Christian area, and I became a non-Christian while living in a fundamentalist Christian area. Both of these areas are in Texas. Texas, at least in my experience, is mostly Christian, or at least most of the population is familiar with Christianity as the main religion. When I was a child, my family had a church we went to regularly. It was a very kind, gracious place with open spaces and grassy lawns and windows and, smiling faces. A lot of good memories there. My sister and I were part of the choir. We got to sing, and our artistic talents were nurtured. There was never any condemnation. This community offered my parents very valuable counseling. It was a very positive experience. That was when I was a kid. When I was about 9, we moved to a more affluent area, and the church of the same denomination was very different. It was larger, possibly more impersonal. Perhaps my parents felt lost there, or they never made new friends. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe they felt financially swamped and they didn't have time, but for whatever reason, and I'm not sure of them all, we slowly stopped attending church. It was a hassle for my parents to get us and themselves ready in the mornings, and Sunday was no exception. So we really didn't go to church very much. We would hear about politics or morality from my parents, usually in a form of a monologue from my mom, but we really didn't hear much about the tenets of Christianity. Our religious influences came mostly from movies like It's a Wonderful Life, or from some quality radio shows, not the screaming type, but the intellectual type, from the occasional candlelit service, Easter service, musicals like Les Mis. That was about it. My sister and I gleaned the common sense stuff, like treat others the way you want to be treated, and do what's right. Of course, what's right meant what my parents wanted. And we parted ways on issues such as sexuality and who I should date. One boyfriend in high school, whom my parents rightfully despised, was a really terrible influence on me. He treated me like dirt, or like his play toy. But he was the first person I knew who really read the Bible in earnest, or at least He knew a lot more about the Bible than I did. He could back up all of his deplorable behavior with Bible verses, and I thought, he must know Christianity very well. It took months, but I slowly started to absorb his patriarchal, demeaning microculture. The culture that told me that females are worth less than males. And that stayed with me for a long time, all through college. My first semester of college, one of my friends was driving home and fell asleep at the wheel and was killed. I thought God wouldn't allow that kind of thing to happen to someone who was such a good person and a Christian. I struggled with that, and I remember it might have been only weeks later, but it felt like months, walking to class and praying, and I looked up and I said, why am I talking to something that doesn't exist? And I stopped praying. That was my first semester of college. By the second semester, I was really intensely interested in philosophy. I took a course on early Greek and Christian philosophers, and I found myself led back to the idea of a creator, a universal force, kind of amorphous and impersonal, but powerful. Semesters later, I was one of the only students who regularly attended weekly chapel services, Christian chapel services, at my school. I definitely believed in the divine again. After college, I met up with friends who were becoming more fervent in their Christian beliefs, and this had a profound impact on me. It took a little while, but I eventually came to personally own and claim the religion I'd grown up around and the religion I was surrounded by. I became a born-again Christian. I said the prayer with my eyes closed, full of conviction, the whole bit. That was me.